Morning, teacher and classmates. Today we are going to talk about our planning based on the fable Dylan the Dragon in the playground ride. The fable was divided into 4 parts to develop 4 lessons of 45 minutes each. This planning is for third grade. The objectives are students will brainstorm what the reading story is about. Students will be able to answer questions and discuss them, and students will be able to create the characters in the fable with the help of Playdoc. The fable Dylan, the dragon, and the playground ride. It's about a dragon named Dylan who lives in the Roxton Mountains of Scotland with his mom. Every morning, Dylan will fly around the mountains and valleys looking for something to do. When he was hungry, he'll go back to his house where his mother gave him tea. One morning, Dylan arrived sadly because he could not find someone to play with, and his mother gave him the idea of flying to the village playground to play with the children. The next day, Dylan did what his mother recommended. Dylan found children, however, they ran away very scared. Dylan went home very sad. The next day, Dylan returned to the playground. Those children were, but this time he carried a white flag. This time, the children were not scared and decided to play with Dylan. They got on his back, and Dylan gave them a ride through the valleys. From that day, they become very good friends. Now, I'm going to talk about the first part that corresponds to the first 6 pages of the story. Next slide. For the first activity, there will be a warm-up. In this activity, the teacher reads the title of the story to the students, and the students will brainstorm what the story is about. For this activity, we assign a time of 5 minutes. The second activity is to read the complete story to give to the students a first approach to the story. For this activity, we assign a time of 10 minutes. The next slide. In the third activity, we will carry out discussion questions. In this activity, the teacher asks the students questions and discusses the beginning of the fable. The questions are, what color is Dylan? What does Dylan live? What did Dylan do after he wake up? What is Dylan's favorite food? And for this activity, we assign a time of 10 minutes. And in the last activity of this lesson, the student will create the characters of the fable with the help of Playdoc. Then the students must tell their classmates which of those characters they like the most and why. For this activity, we assign 20 minutes. Now, my classmate Carla is going to talk about the planning of the second lesson.
The objectives of this plan lesson is students will identify the settings of Dylan the Dragon and the playground ride. Students will identify the conflict of Dylan the Dragon and the playground ride. And the third one is students will identify family shorts activity from short text in picture books. For the first activity, the students will draw and paint the settings where Dylan the Dragon and the playground ride was developed. They are going to need paper, pencil color, and pen. The activity will take 15 minutes. And the next activity, they have to look up for the conflict of the story. Students will reread the reading and try to find the conflict of the story. Then they will have 5 minutes to do that. Then they will share the conflict with the class, and the teacher will write their answer on the board. Finally, The whole group will select the most appropriate conflict of the story, or the correct conflict of the story. They are going to need the story, Dylan the Dragon, and the playground ride, and the activity will take 15 minutes. The next activity, it is Dylan Family Short. And this activity, students will read again the story and look up for Dylan's and his mother's short. They will write the sentence in their notebooks. They are going to need notebook, pencil, eraser, and the activity will take 10 minutes. And finally, the wrap up of this plan, they have to name the characters. Students will name the character in the picture presented by the teacher. The teacher is going to present flashcard and they have to name the character. We have two characters and they have to name them.
All right.
Then we are going to continue with the second plan.
Thanks, Carla. Now, yeah, for the class number 2, which is the second 2 pairs of 45 minutes plannings, we have the next objectives. They have to do with demonstrating familiarity with Dylan the Dragon and the playground ride, matching places of the community with their descriptions, answering questions regarding places of the community, judging Dylan the Dragon as a character based on what they read, and performing activities that promote literacy. For the warm-up for this class number 2, the name of the warm-up is Dylan on the big screen, and students will watch the video which link is here, but before they will be asked what they remember about Dylan, so that they can refresh all this information about the reading, the materials, video in or a screen, and the expected time, since the video is not that long, is just 7 minutes. For next activity, the name of this activity is Where Am I? Each student will receive a flashcard that contains a place of the community and a matching flashcard with a small description of a different place. They'll have to find the classmate with the matching description of their place. The materials, flashcards like these ones that we can see on the pictures, and the expected time is 15 minutes. The next activity, the name is Where's the Playground? And based on what happened on the page 12 of Dylan the Dragon, where he is asking a passerby where is the playground, the students will be asked by the teacher, acting like Dylan the Dragon, where is the playground? To which they will answer saying the playground is near, and they will answer using the flashcard, the place they had in their flashcards. Then they'll be asked what is in that place, and they'll answer by saying it is, and using the description they found on the previous activity. The materials are going to be the flashcards used on the previous activity, and this one would make it more interesting, a puppet based on Dylan, like this one that I have on the corner of the slide. Finally, for my part, not for the class, there is an activity called Is Dylan a Villain?, where students and teacher will discuss on the page 13 of the reading as why people were scared when they saw Dylan, to finally answer the question, is Dylan a villain? So they'll have a chance to think about Dylan's behavior in this case. The materials can be a poster or the image of the page 13 of the reading, so that the students could remember that scene of the reading easily. The expected time, it's 8 minutes. And now my mate Josue is going to continue with this class number 2.
Yes, so as Jared mentioned, this is the last 45 minutes of this class's lesson plan. So for this activity, we have the Think, Pair, Share activity, where students spend a few silent minutes thinking about an aspect or topic which they have learned or seen from the book, whether it be friendships, loneliness, differences, etc. The teacher will then pair them with other students to discuss any relevant angles, some pros and cons or strategies to face these aspects or challenges, where each 4 students have the same topic. So then at the end, they will share their thoughts and discuss it with 4 students. As you can see by the images, these images are trying to represent the activity, where one student is thinking alone, then they pair with another one, and then there's a group of 4 students that share their angles. This activity will be used for 8 minutes of the lesson plan. Next slide, please. Yes, thank you. And now for the next activity is changing the ending. Changing the ending referring to the book or the story. Since the students have read or listened to the entire book ever since the first class, the teacher will propose them if they enjoyed the book and ask them if the ending was satisfying for them. Either way, the teacher will ask them to change the ending of the book according to their opinion, likes, imagination, and which at the end will spark their creativity, because at the end of the day, this is what literary skills will do. They will try to help them, these students acquire these skills which involve reading, writing, comprehension, interpretation, etc. And then following on this activity, there's a group discussion where the teacher divides the class into groups of 3 or 4, where they share with each other the different endings, their opinions, and explanations while the teacher walks around the class observing them and attending groups if needed. As we can see with all these activities, ever since lesson plan number 1, these activities are focused on the student. They're student-centered and not teacher-centered. And at the end, these 2 activities that I just mentioned are 15 minutes each. And finally, with the wrap-up. Yes, okay. So now with the wrap-up, the activity is Jeopardy. This will end the entire class on a fun note. The teacher will divide the class into 2 and ask students trivial questions on the book and on topics seen in this class while rewarding the students with candy or sweets for these 2 classes. Now, if you don't know, Jeopardy is a popular game from the US where they answer trivial questions. Each question has its own value. The more difficult the question is, or the more expensive the question is, the more difficult it is. So that way, each team, for example, will earn the exact amount of money, or it could be changed to points, where as much points as you earned, the more probability you have of winning. Of course, this isn't the candy that will be used will not be just for the winners, but for everyone. This is just more of a fun way to end the class. So that is our lesson plans for class 1 and 2. We hope that you enjoyed, and thank you for your attention.